What's up, you guys? Welcome to this video. This is what 2000 LinkedIn messages has taught me about buyer psychology. Now, I didn't start with a hypothesis. I actually started with real campaigns. And over the last 18 months, I've sent, analyzed, and rebuilt outreach across dozens of LinkedIn campaigns, different industries, different ICPs, different offers. And eventually the data started saying things louder than any framework I could even theorize. So just want to remind you, this is not a field report. It's not advice, just what the numbers actually showed, right? So the setup is that most outreach I inherited looks something like this. Raghav, founding animaker with 15 million users and 7 premium products, including Steve AI. Wow, winning tech entrepreneur of the year and holding 3 US patents, shows exceptional product execution. Total number of words is 49. This is heavy research, which looks impressive on paper. Reply rate was around 19%. So the person running it thought the problem was actually the list. It was, wrong industry, wrong title, wrong timing. The problem was just the message. So finding number one is that length is actually killing you. The most counterintuitive thing that the data showed over and over is that shorter messages dramatically outperform longer ones. Not slightly, but dramatically. Here's the breakdown from one campaign analysis across 3 opener types. Now we have the opener type, which is a casual greeting, word count 8 words, reply rate 66.7%, content hook 18 words, which is a 13.6%, research heavy compliment 49 words, 19%. Now, the 8 word message outperformed the 49 word message by 3.5x. So you can read that again. More effort, less results almost every time. So the research heavy opener signals something that senders don't intend. And I've been watching you. And to a stranger that reads is pressure before trust has even been established. Now, the short message signals something entirely different. It says, hey, I'm a real person, not a system. Finding number two is that personality beats polish. Now, the message that I consistently use that has outperformed everything else in our data wasn't actually a clever hook. It wasn't a case study tease. It wasn't a counterintuitive insight. It was actually this. And it's blacked out. I'm sorry. This one's a secret. I don't know if I can let this one go out to the public. Sorry about that. But just to give you some context, it was no ask, no pitch, no value proposition. Just a human being human, acting like a human being. And this became the baseline across multiple client campaigns. So when we replace long research openers with this format or simple casual greetings, reply rates move from the 15 to 25 range into the 35 to 65% range. One of my personal campaigns went up to 68%, which was insane. So depending on the ICP, what's happening psychologically, the polished message triggers the spam filter in the prospect's brain. It feels like it came from a process. And the casual message passes through that filter because it doesn't feel like it was written for 2,000 people, even if it was. Finding number three is that the message typically isn't the problem most of the time. So one client was running a campaign with decent targeting, solid ICP, and a respectable 39% reply rate. He assumed the ceiling was the message. So we tested it, split his sends 50-50, content hook versus casual greeting. The casual greeting pulled 20% higher than its existing content hook. But here's what was more interesting. So the bottleneck wasn't the connection message at all. It was the follow-up sequence. He had a high reply rate on the opener and almost no conversion downstream. And people were responding to how are things at company with small talk, and then the sequence tried to pitch them before they stated a single pain point. So the opener opened the door, but the sequence slammed it. And this is the part most outreach audits miss. You can have a 35% reply rate in a completely broken pipeline if the message flow doesn't honor the psychology of how trust actually builds. So people need to feel heard before they're ready to listen. Now, finding number four is what buyers actually respond to. So after categorizing hundreds of replies across campaigns in law, tech services, truck, freight, the business consulting, a clear pattern emerged, which is the replies that converted to calls shared one trait. is the prospect actually self identified a problem. Not because we told them they had one, because we asked or left enough space for them to say it themselves. So the highest converting sequences followed a simple arc. And this is connection message, no pitch, no context, just personality. First follow up is a single open question. Second follow up, name a specific pain. And then third is just kind of like a temperature check. No one in this sequence was sold to. They were guided to a conclusion they arrived at themselves. That's not manipulation. That's just respecting the way decisions actually get made. And people don't buy because you convinced them. They buy because they talked themselves into it, and you built a room where that conversation could happen. And finding number five, the message humans skip past, right? So there's a category of message that gets open, gets read, and gets ignored. It's the message that sounds like it could have been sent to anyone. Hey, I noticed you're a leader in the industry. I thought it might be valuable to connect. Your background is impressive. I'd love to learn more about what you're working on. We help companies like yours increase metric by percentage. Would you be open to a quick chat? These messages are not offensive. They're just forgettable. And forgettable is worse than bad. So bad gets a response. A firm no is still feedback. Forgettable gets absolutely zero and leaves you guessing whether the list is wrong, the timing was off, or the message failed. And the messages that got replies, even negative ones, were very specific. They referenced something real. They took a small risk by having a point of view. And the market doesn't reward safe, it actually rewards relevancy. So, what does this actually mean, Calais? I'm not telling you to stop personalizing. I'm telling you that most personalization is actually theater. It exists because it's there to make the sender feel like they did the work, not to make the recipient feel like a person. But real personalization isn't referencing someone's funding round or award history. It's understanding what they actually care about and writing a message that could only make sense to them. That takes less research and more judgment. It takes less data and more clarity about who you're targeting and what they're actually dealing with right now. So the 2000 messages didn't teach me a better script. They actually just taught me that the inbox is a trust environment, and most outreach treats it like an ad platform. The ones that understood the difference, the messages that felt like a person reaching out to another person, those are the ones that started conversations. And conversations are the only thing that ever actually become clients. And those are my findings from what I've been able to take away from 2000 LinkedIn messages. Again, my name is Calais Poteet, founder of Scalematic.io. This is the outbound system you can trust with your name on it. And if you want to see what this looks like inside of a live campaign, or you just want to have an outbound audit, just book a call with us, the link below. Join the newsletter, and talk to you soon. Over and out.